absolutely thrilled to have you with us today because, wow, we are taking a fascinating look at a psychological pattern that is so incredibly common, yet almost nobody talks about it. We're getting into the mind of the ultimate problem solver. You know the type, right? Actually, maybe it is you, the person who's just endlessly useful, the one literally carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders, or, the friend who shows up with a fully color-coded spreadsheet just to manage someone else's breakup. Today, we're unpacking the source material to reveal the true psychology of the fixer, what's really driving them, and the heavy, hidden costs of all this relentless helping. Let's get right into it.
So I want you to answer this honestly for yourself. Are you addicted to being useful? Do you constantly find yourself stepping in to fix everyone else's problems, smoothing over the chaos, all while quietly neglecting your own needs? If you're feeling a little called out right now, hey, don't worry, you are definitely not alone here. This is a highly, highly recognizable pattern. And understanding where it actually comes from, well, that's the absolutely crucial first step to unpacking the whole thing.
Okay, let's dive into this by defining exactly what we're dealing with, the burden of utility. And the absolute key word to understand here is survival. We aren't just talking about a quirky personality trait or someone just trying to be a nice person. No, this is a deep survival pattern where an individual inextricably ties their own self-worth to being needed. They adopt this role of the constant problem solver because, in their mind, their utility literally is their value. If they aren't fixing things, they just don't feel safe.
Section 1. The fixer pattern. When quiet feels uncomfortable.
If we look closely at the typical roles the overgiver occupies, man, they're incredibly familiar. They're the unofficial therapist for their entire family. They're that aggressively reliable friend who will literally drop everything to help you out, or the colleague or partner who just never, ever says no. Now, from the outside, this looks like immense natural strength, right? Just endless generosity. But our sources point out something truly fascinating. They stay incredibly busy in these roles, not out of some natural superpower, but from an intense inner compulsion. They stay busy because when life gets quiet and nobody needs them right that second, they feel completely and utterly lost.
And that brings us to this profound thought. If I am useful, I matter. I just want to pause for a second. Let the gravity of that really sink in. This isn't just about being helpful. It's a literal equation for self-worth. It's a very dangerous early lesson that the mind of the fixer internalized a long, long time ago. Usefulness equals mattering. Period. Without that utility, the entire equation just falls apart.
Section 2. The origin. A dangerous early lesson.
So where exactly does this equation come from? Well, the source material breaks down this origin into 3 clear steps. Step 1. Many of these overly useful people were forced to grow up way, way too soon. Very early in life, maintaining stability felt like it was entirely their responsibility. Step 2, because of that demanding environment, they became the dependable one, the mature one, the solid pillar that everyone else just naturally leaned on. And finally, step 3, and this is the absolute most critical part, over time, helping others stopped feeling like a conscious choice. It hardened into an identity. They didn't just do helpful things anymore, they became the helper.
Section 3. The illusion of control. Fixing to feel safe.
That childhood identity carries over directly into adulthood. And this brilliantly illustrates the core dynamic at play here. On the outside, we have the external action, right? Fixing problems for others. That's what the whole world sees. But internally, we've got a totally different reality. They are actually fixing problems to calm their own anxiety. You see, for the fixer, chaos creates anxiety. The absolute second something goes wrong, their brain just snaps right into solution mode. Why? Because solving something creates a sense of control, and having control makes them feel safe. It's like a shield.
Because of this dynamic, stillness feels totally unbearable to them. Doing nothing forces them to face the exact emotions they've been quietly avoiding this whole time. If they aren't actively distracted by someone else's crisis, well, the quiet forces them to look inward. So all that constant responsibility, it's really acting as a heavy emotional shield against their own unresolved feelings.
Which brings us right to the deepest, darkest fear of the fixer. If I stop being useful, I stop being needed. Deep down, this entire behavioral loop is driven by a profound, terrifying fear of becoming replaceable. Slowly, over the years, usefulness isn't just a habit anymore. It becomes their ultimate emotional survival strategy. In their minds, if they stop giving, they truly believe people will stop staying.
Section 4. The hidden cost. Carrying everyone else. But look, you cannot operate in pure survival mode forever without paying a steep price. The consequences of this constant overgiving are pretty severe. Fixers become so hyper-focused on carrying everyone else that they literally forget how to carry themselves. Because they tie their entire worth to doing, basic rest feels like some kind of guilty indulgence. Setting healthy boundaries, that feels entirely selfish to them. And ultimately, pure unadulterated exhaustion just becomes their baseline normal. And the kicker? Because they've built this entire identity around being the strong one, directly asking for help feels like a massive burden on others. Or worse, they see it as a sign of their own weakness.
Section 5. The breakthrough. Real growth and value.
Fortunately, there is a way out of this loop. If you relate to the fixer pattern, I really want you to absorb this next point. You do not have to constantly earn your right to exist. Real growth begins the exact moment you realize that the people who truly care about you, they aren't going to magically disappear the moment you stop carrying everything alone. You are completely allowed to take up space just by being you.
I want to leave you with this incredibly powerful thought from our source material today. Your presence still has value, even when you are fixing absolutely nothing. I mean, really think about that. What would your relationships actually look like? What would your daily energy look like if you truly, deeply believe that? Breaking this pattern means finally understanding your own mind and recognizing the behaviors you've maybe spent your whole life missing. So, I'll leave you with that provocative thought to reflect on, challenge your own boundaries this week, and maybe try giving yourself permission to just be.